Okay, so today we're heading up to my mechanic to see whether we have bought a lemon or what's the opposite of a lemon? Dragon fruit? A dragon fruit. See whether we bought a dragon fruit. Let's go. So yeah, got all the way up to see Dan. We had a lovely time talking about some bike stuff. He did a service, worked on the bike, gave me his thoughts and feelings, came home, and then this. What the forks? No. All the audio is corrupted. So to say I'm gutted is an understatement, but Dan's free later tonight, so getting back in the car and driving half an hour again to go and get his thoughts. I thought about doing a Zoom, but I want to bring this in the best quality because this is an important project to me. So we're back on the road to go and get Dan's actual in-person opinion on the bike. So let's go. Okay, so technical issues and the fact that this is my second time up to, what did we say the elevation is here?
680.
Yeah, so basically on my way to an Everest, but we're here, we have volume, and we're going through the pros, the cons, and the ways that we're going to get this baby rolling. So, pros, Claris.
Yeah, Shimano Claris on there. Your Shimano group set is, pretty good out of the box. Going to be a bit of a workhorse. You're going to be hard pressed to destroy it unless you're doing the wrong thing. But it works pretty crisply. Pretty good for $350. The frame will be structurally sound. The welds look good. The geometry is pretty sound. With that 5-year warranty, it's going to be pretty safe.
Yep. Okay, so negatives.
Wheels.
Yep.
Quality of the build of the wheels is pretty low. It's pretty wobbly and hoppy out of the box.
Wobbly
side to side, hoppy up and down.
Yep.
The hubs that are on them are super entry level hubs. So.
You mentioned when you were spinning the hub, you could feel it in the handlebar.
Yeah, you can just feel the vibrations. You can feel the vibrations of a poor quality ball bearing.
Yeah.
Those ball bearings are spinning on the cups and cones inside that. And if there's any rough surface on there, you start feeling it, and that's also friction that'll slow it down.
Yeah. Cool. And it's probably not, they're probably not perfectly spherical either, because a little bit of poor quality.
Yeah, when you're talking about roundness of stainless steel bearings, yeah, it's a pretty high number. To the naked eye, they're looking pretty round. You probably won't be able to feel any of those grits until they're worn out on them. But all of that tiny little thing on a perfectly, machined surface, you can start feeling that sort of.
Interestingly, in World War II, one of the major targets of Allied bombing was ball bearing factories because of how important they are to most moving parts and also how precise they have to be. So it's not something that you can bodge. And as a result, bombing of ball bearing factories may have won the war and also may have sunk this bicycle. Not the bombing, but the ball bearings.
The tires, finishing kit, so bar tape, tires, all that sort of stuff is right on that budget end.
Yeah, you can't really see it, but I've still got a blister from riding the bike.
Yeah, there's I think a roll of electrical tape might have done a better job of protecting your hands on those bars, and those tires will probably last as long as most people will ride on that bike, and that's about it.
I've got some footage of I think it's Hanzong from China, so yeah. They're the old faithfuls.
Yeah, it's just stuff that all these manufacturers use to keep costs down. They're always going to be to the detriment of the bike from our perspective. From people that are a bit more into bikes, obviously, we can look at that and look down on it, so to speak. For the person that's buying this bike, they're not going to know the difference until they upgrade.
Yeah, so if you were a new cyclist, let's say I'm a brand new cyclist getting into the sport, have I, by purchasing this CD Blazer, got a lemon or a dragon fruit, I think is what I...
It's definitely not a lemon. It's not frame's not bent, it's not broken out of the box, it's not like you can ride it. You've done 70, 100 Ks on it, something like that. It will definitely get somebody into the sport on a budget.
Okay, so
if somebody is going out for their first sprint triathlon or something like that, $350 is what, twice the cost of most entries to those sort of things.
Honestly, it might even just be the cost of the entry.
It's not like cheap. It's your outlay isn't massive, and in terms of getting something that you can then mess with, without spending too much money to find your perfect fit, find out what kind of components you want to ride and all that sort of stuff, whether you want to ride rim brakes, or whether you want to spend that a little bit extra cash and go to disc.
I think I was telling you before, going back to rim brakes after disc, I thought it would be almost catastrophic. It's like returning home. It's beautiful. It's like a nice warm hug from someone you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, disc brakes are great, and I have no issues with disc brakes. I just don't personally ride them. All of my bikes, apart from my e-bikes, have rim brakes on them.
All the talk about it is like you are irresponsible for riding anything but discs now.
To be perfectly honest, it's more that the manufacturers aren't making rim brakes. So it's harder to find, so you're generally riding an older bike. Which for a lot of people will make you think that you're being irresponsible, potentially using something that is past its time.
One of the things when you go into like 99 Bikes or your local bike shop, they'll always push you towards the higher end models because this bike can grow with you. So how could we get this bike to grow with an average entry-level cyclist? So you take it out, you decide you actually like this sport. What's the first thing that you could do on this bike and sort of go up that triage list within reason?
In terms of cost, I reckon the best thing, I think I mentioned it to you before, the two things that, depending on what you're looking at, are pretty comparable in cost: bike fit and wheels. Your wheels is going to make the biggest difference to the performance of the bikes. The bike fit is going to make the biggest difference to your performance. So combine those two together, you are more comfortable on that bike that is now rolling better. You can then push that more easily for longer. A simple solution to getting the most out of a bike of this price.
And we're talking rolling resistance here, and we'll have hopefully some people wanting to get into the sport watching this. So what is rolling resistance? How would you best describe what that is?
Basically the friction that all of the friction impacting on the bike, tires on ground, bearings in hubs and all that sort of stuff, that is impeding or resisting the forward movement of the bike.
So anything taking that energy out of you, transferring energy forward.
Exactly.
Cool.
You can start, I think I mentioned to you about, you start looking at tires and tubes and stuff, reducing that rotational weight of the wheels. You can get a pretty decent alloy wheel set for a good price if you throw heavy tires on there. I see a lot of people still trying to race on gator skins. There's 700 grams of tire there. It's like, it's going to make a big difference in terms of starting off the line, getting up to speed, any sort of accelerating. You're trying to pull that heavier substance around from a further distance. The lighter you can get the extremity of your wheel, the faster it'll be to spin up.
And I guess the best way to explain that is if you've been at the playground, there'll be those poles, and if you sit really close to them, they go quite fast, and then if you lean out, they slow down because that weight is on the outside. That's the best way to explain it.
If you could change your physical weight in that proportion, you would, maybe not visibly in that exact distance, but you would be easier to get to that speed once you get there.
So we think we've got a pretty good deal here. It's probably something that we can tune up a little bit. Do you reckon you can race it?
Probably not at your level. I reckon somebody, it depends on if you want to talk about criterium racing, that, most stuff, probably not. If you're talking about, what we call like a point-to-point charity event,
like a barrel classic.
That is in effect a race. You still have somebody that finishes it first. It's still timed. You still want to get the best time. 100%. You could do that. You could push yourself and get a good time on that. Racing against other people that are on equipment that
Stupid.
is 10 times the price of this.
Yeah.
It's not feasible. It's obviously it's in different ballparks, and you would have to do a lot to be able to get it to that level, or you'd have to be a very good rider. It does come down to the kind of rider that you are.
Yeah.
But there is a big thing to say about the equipment that you use. So.
Yeah. All right, so we're not there yet. The hunt continues, but we're going to try and make this bike decent. So stay tuned, keep watching, subscribe, and Dan from Tune Cycles GWS if you're in the Greater Western Sydney area and you need a bike service. Have a good one.